What's going on YouTube team and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to go over the most common question that I get on this channel. How to choose the perfect TV. Whether you're a gamer like myself or someone who is into movies or sports or someone who's just trying to find a TV that fits their budget. This guide is going to be a full breakdown of choosing the perfect TV that fits you. Now, if you could do me a favor first by hitting that like and the subscribe button, I greatly appreciate it. Without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the video. Now, TV has came a long way. We have here OLED, QD-OLED, and Mini LED TV. What I'm going to go ahead and do is do a breakdown of all three technologies, talk about the pros and cons, and we're going to talk about the expensive end,
Damn.
and then we're going to talk about the budget friendly end as well too, to see which one is best for you. Now, the first thing you need to ask yourself is, what am I going to use this TV for? Am I going to use it for gaming, sports, or I'm going to be looking for the cinematic experience? After you think about that, then the next thing you need to ask yourself is, what type of features that I'm looking for and the sizing. Let's go ahead and break down the top display tech in 2025. Let's start off with OLED, incredible contrast and deep blacks, and perfect for dark rooms. Next, we have QD OLED, combines OLED strengths and even better colors and higher brightness. And then we have Mini LED, a great option for bright rooms and excellent for HDR performance. Next, we're going to be talking about size.
Oh my god, how is it that big?
Size of your TV. And think about the viewing distance as well too. So pretty much the rule of thumb is 1.2 or 1.6 times the diagonal screen size. So if you look at a 65-inch, it would be around 6 feet of viewing distance. Well, not viewing distance, but distance from the TV specifically. So in my example, I have an 85-inch Sony X95K, and I'm just about 12 feet where the distance of between where I sit at and where the TV is at. So if you're thinking about getting a TV size from 55 to all the way up to 116-inch,
Bruh.
then keep that in mind when it comes to the viewing distance and if you could possibly even fit the TV in your space
Yeah, baby, yeah.
of where it's going to be located at. So just keep that in mind, 1.2 or 1.6, and then you times that by a diagonal screen size, and then that's why you get your number of how far you should be when you're taking a look at the TV. Now let's go ahead and talk about the features in the TV and some of the things that you need to look for before buying. Some of these features when it comes to HDR support. If you look at Samsung only support HDR10 plus, but if you look at Sony and LG, they both support Dolby Vision. Now, if you look at Hisense, TCL, and Panasonic, they both support HDR10 Plus and Dolby Vision. And when it comes to the gaming features, some of the things you need to look for as well too is HGIG, which pretty much the majority of all TVs use them. And then also you need to look for refresh rate. 120 hertz is the minimum when it comes to gaming. But now you're looking at TVs in 2025 that's going up to 165 or in the middle of 144 hertz. We know that LG is coming out with 165 hertz and Samsung as well is going with 165 hertz, depending on the model TV that you get. Now, Hisense and TCL is also doing the same thing as well too, but you have to think about which one of these TVs is going to be features with 165 hertz. It hasn't been announced yet, but keep that in mind if you're thinking about buying a TV in 2025. But if you're looking at previous year model, they only go up to 144 hertz. So the next thing you need to think about too is HDMI 2.1, how many ports that they're going to have for 2025. Now, in 2024 models, if you're looking at TCL or Hisense or Sony television, they only have two HDMI 2.1. But if you look at Samsung or LG, they have four HDMI 2.1 ports. So hopefully this year, there's going to be more announcements that there's more TV manufacturers going to have maybe three or maybe four HDMI 2.1 ports, depending on some of the rumors that we was hearing from Vincent from HDTV Test when he was talking about the Hisense RGB mini LED TV that's using the Pentonic 800 chip where it supports 4 HDMI 2.1. So we think, or maybe, and this is just a rumor, that the new TVs that are coming out for 2025 is also going to have maybe 3 or 4 HDMI 2.1 ports. So I'm crossing my fingers and hope everything works out for 2025 TVs if you think about buying that. All right, let's talk about the other features of the TV. One thing that I want to talk about is the OS system or the UI when it comes to user interface. So, one thing, if you look at Samsung, Samsung has its own operating system, which is Tizen. If you look at LG, LG have its WebOS. And then if you look at TCL, Hisense, and Sony, they both support Google TV, which is pretty much my preference when it comes to the operating system because I feel like those operating systems is a little bit easier and then more intuitive compared to LG and Samsung. But don't get me wrong, Samsung and LG has came a long way when it comes to the operating system. So I want to see how 2025 version is going to compare and stack up between the Google operating system. But if you're looking at Panasonic, Panasonic using Amazon, which is okay. It's not the best, but hopefully it's going to be better this year compared to last year model, which was pretty much sluggish and laggy from looking at some of the reviews. So those are some of the things that you need to keep in mind too when it comes to the interface and how you interact with the TV. Okay, next, let's go ahead and talk about budget. Depending on your budget, let's go ahead and talk about the high-end TVs, which is you'll see Sony, LG, and Samsung, depending on which model you get. For Sony, if you're looking at the top of the line Bravia, let's just say like the Bravia 9, then you're looking around the 4,000 to 5,000 realm, depending on the size of TV. Right now, at the time of recording, you get the TV just a little bit under $4,000 for an 85-inch, depending on what size TV that you're getting for. Same thing for LG G4 is going around the 5,000 realm for an 83-inch. And then if you look at the Samsung S95D, which going at a 75-inch, excuse me, not a 75 inch, but a 77-inch is going around the mid 3,000 realm of 3,500. So those are real good prices for the high end TVs at the moment. But in 2025, those TV prices are going to be a little bit higher, but it just hasn't been announced at this moment. But if that's a little bit too high, you can go down to if you're looking for 1,000 or 2,000, then TCL and Hisense is a really good TV, especially if bang for your buck depending on what size you're getting for. If you're looking for a 65-inch more specifically, then you'll see that TVs are going just under $1,000, depending on which model that you're looking for. Now, if you're looking for a Samsung like a S90D, which is also QD OLED, but depending on the size, if you're looking at a 55, 65, and a 77-inch, those are QD OLED models. But anything below that size or higher, if you look for an 83-inch, those are W OLED TVs. And if you're looking at S90D, especially around the 55 and 65 realm, you can expect to see that around the 2000 realm, depending on what price you could get it for, depending on which store you go to. And then maybe they may even throw in the warranty depending on which company you go with. So other than that, you do have LG. LG has a C4 lineup, and I know C5 is going to be coming out as well too. And so those are good, going to be prices to look out for, and that's going to be very similar to the S90D price range. But if you're looking at the S90F, which is going to be coming out as well in 2025, those are going to be a little bit more in price. It's not going to be as pricey as the S90D or the C4, but that's something just to keep in mind if you're thinking about buying a TV right now or waiting in 2025. All right, so that's my TV buying guide for 2025. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are about this video in general. If you have any questions about any particular TV you thinking about buying or even future TVs, I'm very curious to know in the comments. But if you could do me a favor by hitting that like and the subscribe button, I greatly appreciate it. Until next time, I see everyone on the next video. Take care. Bye.